Thank you for clicking on this podcast. My name's Beth, and you're now listening to Between Light and Dark. Sorry, I've just always wanted to say that, like I'm in a radio show or something. I don't know if that will be my intro every time. And apologies if it's noisy, if the audio sucks, if the vibe of this video isn't good. So yeah, my name is Beth. I had a podcast, so it was only audio, and I believe I started it in 2020, so that was 5 years ago. I'm 22 now, so I was quite young, and they're still available to listen to as well. It's actually kind of sweet, like listening to my younger self and all of my like opinions and thoughts, and it's just really funny. It's like having your own little online journal, like digital diary, but it's your voice, and it's like you're going back in time, and I just thought, let's just start again, but with more intention and a little bit more purpose with what I want to do. And at that time I was a very, very spiritual person, and I kind of got not like too heavy, but I was very into new age spirituality, and into like the crystals, and like got into meditation. But simultaneously I really, really got into film and cinema, so bear with me, this is where it's going. So I was probably, I think the first film I watched where I really felt such a significant kind of change within me, and it was American Beauty. And I believe I was maybe 16, and it was recommended by my brother. But I was like, why don't I just try it out? So I watched it, and you know what, I don't actually remember what like watching it for the first time, but I noted down the feelings, and I remember what happened to me, and it seems so dramatic, but this has all led me to this point right now, because I just have to share how film can literally change your life. Like one film, many films, it's such a beautiful art form that I can't even imagine the work and the planning and all these different people, coming together to form this piece of art that has such an effect on people simultaneously, or like, it could be like similar emotions, or it could be completely different experiences. And that kind of jump started my whole spiritual journey, to be honest. And yeah, I fell into sort of that way of looking, and I know there are a lot of filmmakers especially that do kind of have those sort of meditative kind of beliefs, or kind of like, viewpoints of the world. But since becoming Christian recently, I have had to kind of reframe my whole like mindset. But the act of watching films has not changed, it's actually deepened, interestingly, because I thought, oh no, I'm not going to be able to watch all these films anymore. But Christianity is not a rule based, it's not like you can't do this, you can't do this, it's very much a relationship, it's very much experiences, but you're not you, like you are kind of owned by God, and so you follow kind of his path for you. Anyways, sorry, that was off track, but yeah, it kind of opened this whole new way of viewing the world. And at that point as well, I believe, so at 16, I believe I was going into what we call sixth form. So I really wanted to do like film, but unfortunately the place that I went to, that wasn't available, and neither was media. It's a very, very small sixth form. But sociology was available, and I was like, it sounds really, really interesting, like, you know, about society and how humans work within these societies, within culture, within groups, and analysing things that happen in the world, but from this sort of wider angles, because psychology is very interesting, but I am not a scientist. I do not like learning very in-depth scientific information, and that's just me. So I like thinking and I like discussing, but I've only realised that now, really, after doing sociology for my degree. But yes, so I'll get onto that. So I chose it as an A-level as well as English and law, and English and sociology really, really stuck with me, because, you know, you look at these like different ways of viewing the world, even if I disagreed with them, you know, it's still very, very powerful to see such differing and like have those conversations. And I was also, I believe, at a point in my life where I was struggling like with meaning and with purpose. I know it's like such a young age, but I had always, like, I remember just, I would always write in my journal, like, you know, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. And it's like, just relax, girl, like, enjoy your life, you know, enjoy your youth. But I think because I was surrounding myself with like not the best people, it made me become very kind of, I feel like I've been a very self-aware, but like to the point of like extreme, you know, where it's like not healthy, and like, you know, analysing like every single thing that you do. But when I watched American Beauty, like, it just spoke to me on this like metaphorical, metaphysical like level. And there was a lot of symbolism within the film that I really resonated with, and a lot about desire through the red rose. I just found that so fascinating, that like things, ideas could be depicted through images. I was like, wait, what? Because like I feel like it sounds so stupid, but it, at the time, I was just like mind blown, you know. And also the fact that I felt like transcendence, almost like out of my body into this world that had been created. Like, it felt like it had been created for me, like personally. And I just remember it's such a special moment. And the plastic, if you haven't seen it, I'm so sorry, but I may be spoiling it a bit and you may not, but maybe you get this with like a different film that you've watched in your life. But yeah, I was going to say the plastic bag scene, oh my goodness, with the music makes it, like, that score by Thomas Newman, it's I can't really describe it. You have to just listen to it. Every single piece of music that is chosen, that he made, composed, whatever, is perfect. It's perfect for every scene that the music is in. And yeah, I may make a different episode about just the beauty of music within film, but just music generally is like a whole other kind of art form, you know. But on this podcast, I'll mostly be focusing on film. But yeah, I'm honestly, it's so weird, like I'm being taken back to all those like moments. And it's also interesting because that film in particular anyway, it has a very weird sort of synopsis, if you will. And what I love about it is that it's so much deeper than how it is portrayed. And I wasn't expecting that. You know, I was like, oh, this is just some weird kind of 90s film. But it hit so much because I was just so taken aback. And just not even, you know, living my life. And I could relate to like the main character in some way about desiring something other than your life and desiring this sort of freedom that isn't actually attainable. It isn't actually true, but you know, it feels it because you can see it, you can like go out and grab it. But then the movie, it takes you through this transformation of Lester, the main character, and from that, because he's motivated by that, you know, this sort of youthful, sort of lustful man, but something inside of him is like he wants more from his boring sort of life. And it actually, he transforms into this sort of, it's kind of the idea again of self-transcendence and or self-actualization, where you kind of become like the best version of yourself possible. And at that moment I was like, wow, like I was just blown away by it. So yeah, that's kind of my like background, my story of the first time I really sunk my teeth into what cinema could do. And since then, I mean, obviously I've watched some amazing films, and in the future I'll be doing a podcast episode about the best films of all time according to me and of what I've watched so far. I feel very overwhelmed right now, to be honest with you, about how many films I need to watch and I want to watch. And that's kind of like the crux of this episode. It's sort of my dilemma at the moment, is prioritizing what needs to be watched and what I want to watch. And you know what, maybe I'll just make 2 lists of like, I'll go through all of my watch lists and just make a list. But then film it, I don't want it to be like a sort of chore and a sort of like, you must watch it in this order. Because what I've realised, like with American Beauty, is sometimes those best moments come to you randomly. You know, you don't know when you're going to feel like that. But then some films feel they're very good and they're really well made and the story's amazing, the character and everything, but they just don't hit me in like that personal kind of way. Oh, it's very interesting, and I can't wait to dive in more to this with just sort of my thoughts and a little bit of, you know, sociological background. But yeah, this was more of like a background into myself to help you like get to know me more and like what my intentions are for this podcast. I mean, if I enjoy doing this long term, like I'd love to have, you know, guests in the future and talk, just yapping and ranting about how much we love film, and like that's all I want to do, and how it is such a powerful tool. And yeah, I mean, I may just end on this note actually, in that it eventually led me to Christ. And I still get a bit nervous talking about this as a new Christian, and the reactions and the judgments from our society. But, you know, I'm trying not to be so afraid and to, you know, be a good example of what Christianity can do. And, you know, I'll only be speaking from my personal sort of experience, but it's so interesting that moment of American Beauty, although it led me down a few years of a different path. It eventually led me to where I am now, where I still love film, and it's actually, you know, grown deeper. And I just love not only like talking about film, but I do love that kind of critical analyst perspective of it. It's a very weird balance. It's like, maybe, and that might be an interesting topic for another episode, is this sort of like very, very fine kind of balance between enjoyment and entertainment in a film, compared to, or as well as, you know, what's the word, like detailed, like, you know, with certain camera angles and the lighting, and, you know, more like plot developed potentially, and more fine-tuned, you know, these kind of like, it's kind of like reason versus flow. I don't know if that makes sense. It's kind of a duality is what I'm getting at, but I think you can fuse them together, and I think it can be a really beautiful, great thing. And I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. This has got very philosophical very quick, but that is me. And yeah, let's see where we go from here. So but the point of this podcast is that I like nuance, and I like to be in between these two things, you know, like, it's not, sometimes it is very, you know, either on this side or this side, but often it's somewhere in the middle, and I want to just grab that and reach it and talk about that, you know. So that's my goal. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this first episode, and if you liked it, I would love for you to subscribe to the podcast or follow it. I don't even know what you do nowadays. And yeah, this should be posted on YouTube and Spotify, so I will link whichever like channel this is on to the other channel, if that makes sense. Anyways, okay, I'm waffling. Thank you so much, and God bless.